took them back down to Kathy.
Well, the paid on vacation are back on in my office. No,
Claims.
that's
So we're
claims.
good.
You took the paid on vacation claims back downstairs?
Yeah.
Okay, did you keep a copy of the paid on vacation sheet or
They're all there.
do you want me to go down and get it?
You can. Okay. Okay, well, Kathy's getting some things, we'll call the meeting to order. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from last month?
Will you tell them to mute their,
What's that?
will you tell them to mute their,
Yeah, mute your phone if you will, while you're on the line.
and YouTube?
Yeah, who all do we have here on the line? Marilyn?
Yes.
Bob's here, Jerry Loffelman, are you there? Hey, Judy, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Mike Bean? Mike, are you on? Okay, so we have Marilyn, Bob's here, Dave's here, and Judy. Is that correct?
Mike's here.
There you go.
Mike's there too? Okay,
So we have everybody but Jerry.
everybody but Jerry. So, has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from last month? Any corrections or additions to them? Not then, they stand approved as read. Okay, visitors, we have Paula Meyer as a visitor here in the third floor room. And she would like to address the executive committee on options for taxes coming up. You wanna talk now, Paula?
I can. So as you know, taxes are coming up. Generally, they go out around the first part of June, end of May, 1st of June. So there's been a number of ideas thrown out by various people over the last few weeks due to this situation. So we could probably postpone sending bills altogether. I don't know that that is a very good idea because the taxing bodies need this money. They have to make their payroll and bond payments and lots of other things, so I don't know that that's a good idea. In addition to that, there are a number of people that will pay them, are in the position to pay them. The escrow companies will pay them. I don't know what percentage of the taxes we collect come from escrows. I've not calculated that. I can try to come up with that. So I would recommend not postponing sending out these bills. The second component to that is is giving people more time potentially to pay it, or in essence, not charging them overdue fees immediately, giving them more time to pay it in some capacity. Like I said, some people will pay it regardless, they'll be in here right away. We also have the issue of, how are we gonna deal with walk-in traffic? Are we gonna try to get everybody to pay it over the phone or online? I'm not really prepared with how to deal with that yet. I have some ideas, but they need to be fleshed out. So one idea is to maybe not charge the overdue fee on the first payment and only kick in the overdue charges, which is 1% a month. And so by the second month, it's 2 and 3. Actually, it's 1.5. Let me correct that. It's 1.5% if you don't pay it. So if we didn't have them pay after the first one, gave them until the September payment to make all of their payments and not charge any overdue fees until September. Having said that, the county gets about $100,000 a year from those overdue fees. That money comes straight back to the general fund. So if you postpone that, you're going to get maybe half of those fees that we usually do. Maybe, not sure, we've never done this before, exactly how that effect would be. So I wanted to throw out this concept to think about it, a month to get it on the committee agendas, well, 3 weeks probably to get it on the committee agendas, so that it can be approved at the May meeting, because we're gonna have to have it approved before we send out bills. So, any questions or thoughts or ideas? Or you can contact me offline if you've got a thought, that'd be fine too.
If you're gonna talk, please identify yourself before you say something. Anybody have any comments on that?
All right, good, thank you.
Charlie Moonster, do you have anything to say, Chuck?
No, nothing from the state attorney's office.
Okay. And Kathy, other than being here as clerk, you have anything? you
No,
wanna-
have nothing.
Okay. Reports from the board chairs. Start out with Bob Olson, who's sitting here right to my right.
Finance met this morning, 9 o'clock. We approved the treasurer's financial monthly report, quarter report, and we also approved a monthly resolution that will be in the packet. There was no law enforcement claims this month. We had an update on the public defender's conference room. We discussed the demolition of the old LEC building. Still working on that, get some numbers. We approved a bid, the lowest bid for the Lee County Electrical Aggregation Program bid. That'll be on the agenda. Dave updated us on the food pantry repairs, the upgrades to the fire alarm system down at the food pantry in the county building. We approved a bid, Porter for the blacktop ceiling and restriping in the new courts building and the employee parking lot to the west of the old jail, LEC building. We discussed the new courts building and the old courthouse and some phone upgrades. We got some work to do there. We're gonna try to upgrade them in the next year and a half if we can. And the sheriff updated us on, he cleaned out the old LEC building, jail, and for retrofitting in the old jail for the COVID-19 inmates if we have an issue with that. That's about all I have. If you got any questions?
Any questions for Dave, or for Bob? Jerry's not here. You aren't there, are you, Dave Chandler, or Dave Anderson? I actually got in on that meeting. It was at 7 o'clock last Monday, and for all practical purposes, we awarded, I believe, three jobs. And that was pretty much a very short meeting. We were in and out of there in a half hour.
Blacktop jobs or
Blacktop and I believe there was one bridge job.
did they come in cheaper?
Dave has two things that he's asked to be put on the agenda. The Green River Wind Farm road repair work, and then the Atkinson Road Bridge replacement in Nelson Township. So I have that on the county board agenda.
And I left the email that he sent on the desk there. Yep, you got it? Okay.
Gonna get to that. Thank you, Kate. Dave Bowers, your report.
Yes, we met on Tuesday and paid claims. Bob has covered a lot of these because of the ones that are financial. In addition to those, let's see. I don't really think we have anything that are covered by finance or later on our agenda, so I don't have anything else additional to report unless there's questions.
Any questions for Dave?
Application, I think we approved or we pass these around.
Just, vacation.
I didn't show them today.
So start looking at it. Okay, the next one is, Judy, do you have your report? Judy?
I forgot to push my mute button.
Okay.
So most of the things that we're talking about at finance and properties that we talked about, so just kudos to especially those departments that are working full-time plus and keeping up. And the phone system, which was talked about other places, just, so nothing really new other than claims. That's not new either.
Any questions for Judy? Mike, you have your report?
I sure do. Public safety met yesterday morning. We had a relatively short meeting, like a few others. We wanted to approve the previous meeting minutes and claims and approve those. We had nothing under old business. New business, we have got a couple of resolutions that are there. I'll go over those in a minute. Just to comment on what Bob brought up, the sheriff also informed us of the retrofitting of the old jail. That's just a repetitious situation to continue on that. John, would I be out of line explaining anything on the status of the COVID-19 plan that we have, for the county, specifically more, I guess, for the traffic coming into the county? Should I mention what we talked about a little bit yesterday on that? I know I didn't.
No, go ahead and comment on it, Mike.
anything, but
Talked about it at public safety. Go ahead, Mike.
all right. Basically, what we were concerned about, the sheriff took control of it pretty quickly. We were concerned about an influx of traffic coming into the county from outside the area to the local campgrounds. Most of the local campgrounds have been shut down completely. We have one scenario that the gate is remaining open, Woodhaven. Traffic was starting to pick up and come in, even though the governor had mentioned or put it in place in order of no travel unless it was essential. There's non-essential travel and essential travel. Basically what it boiled down to was the sheriff, state's attorney, and correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie, you did converse with the governor's office and have some information that was put out by the sheriff in a letter to the Woodhaven Association. And the sheriff explained to me yesterday that approximately 3 weeks ago, they had approximately 750 people that signed in. The following weekend, after all the information was disseminated to Woodhaven Association and their chiefs and their friends, the registration had dropped to just a little over 300. And just this past weekend, as I understand it, that population has dropped to just a little over 100. So the information that was put in place has apparently taken effect. People are starting to respect that and stay home as they've been instructed to do so. We've noticed some traffic here in the Amboy area. I've had several people express their disgust, but I have also passed on what the sheriff what I just told you as far as the dwindling down of the population out there. So we should be setting pretty good here before the summer blast will hit us, because we could have potentially seen a population of 20 to 30,000 out there through the summer months for the campground. And I was real concerned, as well as Kathy Ferguson, Kevin Lally, and the sheriff was also concerned that there was action taken. And we're just kind of sitting here now monitoring what's going on. So if anybody has any questions, you can ask them. If I can answer them, I'll try to.
Hey, Mike,
Yes.
just to clarify, I wasn't in contact with the governor's office. The sheriff was with Tom Demmer. I've been speaking with the sheriff as well as EMA to try to figure out what to do with this from our side.
Okay. You're still involved, and that's great.
Correct, yeah.
And I apologize for that. I thought that you were in there, but that's all right.
Sure.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we have 3 resolutions that were passed on to the executive committee. They should all be there if you have any your information. One of them being the appointment of Doug Pettinger to the trustee of the West Brooklyn Fire Department. And there's a resolution there for Kevin Nolly, Steve Gilmore, and Ryan Bushcole to be appointed to the Lee County Emergency Telephone System Board. The other thing that we had was, Greg, head of maintenance brought up an issue as far as smoking and a smoke-free environment. It was kind of left at that point just to use the course of actions that are there by law rather than trying to, excuse me, I'm sorry, rather than trying to write an additional law. So he was having some issues with some employees that were kind of overextending things, but it's taken care of, so we don't have to worry about that. We went into an executive session for a short period of time with the state's attorney. We came out of the executive session, the meeting was adjourned just around 10:30. And that's it.
Mike, you mentioned 3 resolutions. We only had 2. Is there a third?
I'm sorry, no, there's 2 there, there's 3 people on
Okay.
the resolution, was probably what I was looking at. There's only 2, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Just wanted to make sure, didn't miss anything.
Yeah, one for Doug Pettinger, and then, there was one resolution appointing 3 people to the 911 board.
Okay. Anybody have questions for Mike? Okay. Going on, we passed around the claim sheets. Monthly claim sheet, the paid vacation. And Dave and Bob are here. Do either one of you have any questions on it?
Well, I didn't find sickage on there, we were talking about that, is that on there?
The sickage bill was actually delivered over to Denise McCaffrey's office, so we didn't get it until yesterday, I believe, and I took it down to Kathy's office.
This is Marilyn, I cannot hear Kathy's response.
Becky's speaking, but
So the bill was actually delivered over to Denise's office, so it did not make the claims, but it was paid in vacation, so it wouldn't be late. So we just didn't have it because it got delivered to the wrong building.
It'll be in next month's date.
Out of curiosity, what was the amount we're paying sickage this month?
there was an overage on it, I believe it was around $8,300,
Was it 8,600?
86. That included a rewrite of the handbook and an update of the handbook, which should have been done last fall, but never did get done. And then we had an issue where Jenny Andrews actually had to come out here, and it was in the maintenance department. There were some personnel issues that had to be taken care of. It will be substantially less last month, but this was an extraordinary month, and we had some extraordinary issues. If anybody has any questions, I mean, it's a personnel issue, so I don't know exactly how much of it I can discuss, but I'll be more than happy to discuss it with anybody that wants to get it,
Not a problem.
okay? I'm just hesitant to get into that type of issue. At least, right here. Okay, does anybody have any questions on those sheets that are being passed around? I can give you dollar amounts if you need it. It would be the paid vacation, the monthly claim sheets from the committees, and then the per diems. If not, I'll go on. There's no petitions to the zoning board, no petitions from the zoning board, no petitions to the planning committee, no petitions from the planning committee. Under old business, we would be covering, this excuse me, right at the first of the agenda, under the resolution, we have one for Joseph Meyer. Tax auction, that was going through in finance this morning. Does anybody, I don't believe any of that was emailed out, probably because we didn't, was it emailed?
Yeah.
You should have it then, you should have it. Is there any questions on that? I wanted to catch that first. And then going over to the backside, under old business, we have the routine discussion on the reduction of members of the county board. We also have one ordinance that'll be, that was held over from March regarding the IDOT, public transportation application. I don't know of any other old business. Does anybody have any comments on other old business? Under new business, there's awarding bids for the wind farm, repair work on that Kathy just covered. There's a resolution coming out of lots for the capital grant assistance. We all have that. There's another, actually just a policy that Greg Gates has that IDOT wanted him to set up. Very similar to the COVID-19 pay and benefit policy that we passed at the county board last month. We have the treasurer's quarterly report. And then also in addition to that, there was a municipal aggregation bid that was put out in properties and then again in finance. Do we need to approve that? We need to approve that.
Do you have it in resolution form?
No, but we can get it, can't we, Charlie? Yeah, to approve the resolution,
Charlie, I'll send you a copy of the last one that we did.
Thanks.
that work?
Okay,
Does everybody understand that? I think everybody's been touched by that. We are going to recommend AEP, who was the low bidder.
Well, what I would say is it may be AAP or maybe somebody else will recommend the whole low bidder.
True.
Right now, AEP,
New ones are
right, they'll have a refresh.
I was gonna say, depending on when we get those numbers, we may not be able to have that resolution out to you until we get the numbers Monday.
Does everybody understand that? But we do have a lag here because of the way the board meeting was rescheduled, whereby we'll have those numbers adjusted next week, get them all to you. Anybody have any other new business?
Judy has a question. So I know that some of the departments have been working staggered hours, and I don't know that it's anything that the board will make a decision on. I think that's, just if it went to staggered. I've heard that there's some chance that we'll be working because this is, our shelter at home has been extended. So are we getting too tight on, getting too far behind on county work?
I haven't heard that we're behind because many things have been pushed forward, especially over at the courthouse. A lot of those have gone into July, hasn't it, Charlie?
Correct, so we've got dates that are pushing from beginning in June through July. And I've instructed my office, and we've been in contact with defense attorneys as well, to try to continue to work on these cases, even though we're not actually meeting in court, we're still being diligent about them.
Are there any department heads on this call? Assessors? Kathy Myers is sitting here shaking her head that I believe you're staying
we're
current.
doing okay.
I believe the assessor's office is working with, and is staying current. Dee and Becky are alternating halves of the day and working from home and staying current on things. I haven't heard that anybody's getting behind because of the ability to work from home, except Mike, he's getting behind. Any other questions on that from Judy?
I was thinking, I don't think they're behind yet, it's only been a few weeks, but if this is going to be extended, we have some departments that everyone is still working and then others are doing the staggered hours, and some can work from home and some can't. So just a concern, fairness, if there's some way we can work around that, because people thought it would be next week before they can come back, and now it's just being pushed out.
I'll keep my finger on the pulse of the departments. I've been trying to ask to make sure everybody's caught up. A lot of work in progress here as we work through the time we're gonna have to shelter at home.
If I could make a comment, just,
Sure.
you know, as we move forward, and as I've stated before, you know, the last 3-4 weeks, we've been increased workload just by having remote users. Obviously, I've been here every day streaming this, setting up the county board. Zach's been working the EOC, I've been working the EOC, and trying to just get, you know, keep working. Just to kind of put in everybody's head too, and like Charlie mentioned, you know, their cases, just because we're still in full steam and everything, once people get back, especially the court systems and whatnot, it's gonna be incredibly busy. So, and whether or not it's gonna be at full steam or whether it's gonna be, hey, we're gonna proceed, but we're gonna do a lot of video conferencing. I just want to put it in everybody's ear that IT's still going to have to maintain that and still going to have to make sure court systems are functioning, whether we're in there constantly just to hold hands, because the bailiffs are ultimately the ones that kind of set that up. So I'm just putting it out there, but you know, once things do start kind of slowly getting back together, that doesn't mean we're going to slow down. It just may mean we just have increased workload. So just putting it out there for everybody. So.
Okay. Any other new business? We'll get that electrical aggregation ordinance or resolution. Under appointments, Mr. Copine had mentioned he had a couple resolutions. One's appointing Doug Pettinger as trustee of the West Brooklyn Fire District. And the other one would be reappointing Kevin Lally, Steve Gilmore, and Ryan Muskell to the Lee County Emergency Telephone System. Are you going to have an executive session, Charlie?
I don't plan to.
The rest of it is just that. Anybody else have anything extra? There's no raffle report. Just need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Olson, second by Mr. Bowers. Get a roll call vote on that.
Yep. John Nicholson,
Yes.
Marilyn Shippert,
Yes,
Bob Olson,
Yes.
Jerry Leffelman, Dave Bowers,
Yes.
Judy Truckenbrod,
yes,
Mike Copine,
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Again, I want to thank everybody for their sending these meetings via telephone. It's kind of a awkward situation, but it's what has to be done. So I thank you all for your time. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Bowers,
Second.
second by Mr. Olson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
bye.
I don't think we need a roll call for that. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.